So, welcome everyone. My name is Bruce Cronquist, and I'd go ahead and like to welcome Kim Washington Ballard from Lancaster. Actually, is that which school or the Lancaster School District? And she's going to be sharing with us how to use the Google Classroom to teach. When there's technology issues that emerge, and not just the technology issues we've had today, but as an adjunct professor, I know it should be fun to see how Google Classroom can be used to help improve a student's experience. So I'll let you take it away.
Thank you so much for introducing me. Welcome everyone to my session. And of course, definitely a lot happened when COVID hit and we had to take place with converting over to teaching virtually and trying to figure out what platforms were going to be useful and just how we're going to keep the kids enjoying learning the same way as how we were going to be considering with working with them, but also working with virtual and also trying to figure out how to provide them assignments that we knew that they would be able to complete on their own. So it was very interesting learning how to use Google Classroom to help reach out to our students, but also to provide them a different way of learning that was fun and gave them a chance to become responsible in their learning as well. So just a little bit about myself. I am an elementary art teacher in Lancaster ISD. I have been teaching elementary art for going on 18 years. I am a certified arts integration specialist. I am also the lead elementary art teacher in Lancaster ISD, which is basically where I help mentor the new incoming art teachers there, pretty much show them the ropes, how we do things in Lancaster, and also how to provide them advice, suggestions, just ways that I can help them improve the way that they're teaching their students, and just useful suggestions as a first year art teacher or just a teacher in general, things that we have to go through, the different obstacles to help provide for our students. Also in teaching, I love incorporating science and math with art. That is something that I love doing. I also love helping my students understand how science and math contributes a lot with art. So with teaching with Google Classroom, that really provided a lot of activities that the students were able to see how science and math and also other core subjects tied in with that as well. And I am currently working on my doctorate right now. It was actually one of my professors that pushed me to try out for this conference and get everything going. So I'm really excited about that I was able to present for you guys. So that was really, really a great moment for me. So that is just a little bit about me. I am getting ready to go on to the next thing in terms of what it takes for teaching in Google Classroom when technology issues do emerge. And so in doing that, I'm going to stop sharing and move on to the next screen. And here we have, this is basically, so when we found out that we were having to teach virtually with our students and we were pretty much at home and they were at home as well, we had to come up with a way to how teach our students synchronously, but also provide them assignments where they were able to do those assignments on their own. And so for my students, I had, of course, kinder through fifth grade. And so mainly I worked a lot with my third, fourth, and fifth graders when it came to producing a lot of artwork. And so I was trying to figure out what lessons can I provide them where they're able to see how to build or make or produce these projects on their own, but also try to provide those resources for them. So here I created, this is the Google Classroom for my third graders. And as you can see here, it provides them anytime that I post an assignment or a message, they're able to see those messages and those assignments that are posted. A lot of times when we use Google Classroom, we were also on Google Meet. And so we were able to see them, but in terms of working on projects or for them to turn in assignments, we had to use Google Classroom for that. So they were able to go and look at the stream on Google Classroom to see if anything new was posted. From doing that part, we were then able to go into the next thing. And let's see if this works. We were then able to go into the next item. I always started off with their expectations. So with everything that we were doing, once again, we were teaching with them online through Google Meet, but our assignments were basically through Google Classroom. So if Google Meet was not working at the time, we had to revert over to something else, which was Google Classroom. So we also had different types of etiquette that they had to follow with being online, but also in Google Classroom, they had to make sure that if they were doing an assignment, you couldn't just click, oh, I completed the assignment. They had to make sure they go in and turned in something in order to complete that assignment. So we had the Google Meet etiquette for them to follow with doing that. We also had here with the Google Meet, I also had my following lessons for them that they had to follow. And with doing that, we had our agenda. So with any lessons that we had for them to complete for that week or that day that we met with them, I had an agenda for them. This agenda showed them what we would go over through our Google Meet, but it also gave them the expectations of what was required through our Google Classroom, any assignments there. So they were provided with our synchronous assignments and asynchronous projects or assignments that they were also doing on their own. So I would provide assignments that they would have to do. And then, for example, a sculpture project. With doing that sculpture project, they would then have different instructions, different examples that I will show later on in the other tabs. They had different examples of how they can create their sculpture project. Then, of course, in order for me to be able to see that they completed the assignment, they had to complete an exit ticket. And so with doing the exit ticket, that provided me the opportunity to see, okay, my student understood the assignment that was provided for them. It also allowed me to see that they were able to go and do the assignment on their own without any problem. So it was really, really cool because it gave us the opportunity to not only work together, but it also gave them the responsibility to work on their own to prove to me that they know how to do their project and how to complete their project as well. After we provided that agenda for them, I then went into their assignment. And so for their assignment, we always provided the exit tickets, but you were able to see different assignments here. And I also provided resources for them. So any assignments we had, I had to provide resources. So of course, I'm the art teacher. Any projects we had, I had to make sure they had resources on understanding what the elements of art was, what the principles of design. So to make sure, because we were not in the classroom where I was able to work with them one-on-one, I had to make sure they were able to go back to information just in case whatever the project was, they were able to go look and see, okay, I need to find something that deals with shape. What is shape? They can go and look at the resources provided for them to see, okay, shape is this. It's an element of art. They were also able to go back and see as well the resources for the principles of design as well. So with teaching through Google Classroom, we had to make sure that any information that related to any assignments or lessons or projects, the kids definitely had to have those resources provided for them because we were no longer in the classroom. So we needed to make sure they understood exactly what the assignment was asking and what we expected of them for that particular project. The next thing that we also had after sharing those resources, as you can see in the Google Classroom here, let's see if it goes, sorry. So this is one of the activities here. We had the sculpture building activity project. And so every lesson that was provided for them by week, we had to go and provide an exit ticket for them. That was their way of letting us know that they understood what the assignment was, and they were able to go and find these items either at their house or online. And so for this exit ticket, we talked about sculptures. That was the lesson for that week. And so for me to understand or to see if they understood what our lesson was about, they had to go and find 2 examples of sculptures at their house or 2 examples online. And they had to place them inside of the picture frame. So I always make it where it's very unique and fun for them to do on their own. And this helps me see how well they understood the assignment and also how they think creatively in completing their assignments as well. Also, with doing that with the lessons, as you can see here in my Google Classroom, I'm going to go to the next screen. And in doing this screen, we're setting up your Google Classroom. There is a lot that the students have to definitely make sure they're able to see. So not only do we provide the information on the stream, not only do we provide the projects for them, but there are different types of tabs here that they can go through to find those resources or that information. So of course, when COVID hit and we were having to teach online, we also not only had to teach the students, but the parents as well. So we also had to provide those resources for the parents so that they knew how their student was learning, the activities they were doing, also the lessons that they would be learning, and to help them out as well. So if the student had a question, the parents can also go back to the Google Classroom and find those resources as well. And so I always provided different tabs for everything. This was our introduction into the Google Classroom. If we had to meet, this was where the link was. The Artsy agendas, this is where any lesson we had, the agendas was there. So the students knew exactly what was going to happen for that week. Any resources that I wanted to provide for the students and also for their parents, they were able to come to the Artsy resources to find those resources that related to the project. And then here we have the Artsy Art project. So every week they had a project that was due, and they also had exit tickets that was due as well. And so those projects also break down into the full detailed information of what that project was, the instructions of what they needed to do. And then it was also the exit ticket and an example of what that assignment was. A lot of times in teaching on Google Classroom or providing them that activity, I will always have to also provide different examples for those. If there was the sculpture project, different examples so they can see how sculptures are made. We also had to provide different examples of the steps. So in doing that with the steps, I will always provide the process that I would do, and then I will also give them that process as well and take pictures. So with teaching with Google Classroom, you also have to make sure you provide a lot of materials for the students to see in order for them to also be successful on their own. So we're teaching them how to be responsible on their own as well. In doing that as well, here we have also the sculpture building activity here, where the students had to create, this is also from these are my third graders here. So I had third, fourth, and fifth graders. And so I had one students who love origami. And that was their way of showing their sculptures. So they can be as creative as they wanted to. And that's the good thing about Google Classroom. The students are able to be creative. They don't have to worry about what someone sees or what someone doesn't like, or if they think is good enough. They can post their examples there, and only they can see it and the teacher. So they're not having to think about whether all the students in the classroom can see, because it's virtual and they have their own folder. So they're able to provide everything one-on-one, where it's just that conversation between you and the teacher. And so with doing that, it makes it very, very easy in teaching with Google Classroom, especially when technical issues arise. Once again, we had Google Meet, which is one of the platforms we had to use to teach the students synchronously. But when it was time for assignments and lessons and projects, we had to find out a different platform to teach them asynchronously, where they were able to do the work on their own and provide their work back for us. So that was two different ways of how we were able to use that platform with Google Classroom to not only provide information for our students, but to also provide information for the parents as well. Bruce, are there any questions or?
There's no questions online. We'll see if there's any questions in the room.
Okay.
No question on my end.
I actually have one quick one, real quick. How long did it take you to set up, your online classroom, the groups and things like that?
Oh, wow. With the Google Classroom, in setting up Google Classroom, it does take, I would say, probably about an hour to an hour and a half. It just depends on how much information you want to have for your students. Because if we're teaching virtually, not only are we teaching the students, but we're also teaching their parents. So right. You want to make sure you try to make it as easy as possible for their parents to also understand how we're teaching. But you also want to make sure it's easy enough for the students to also understand as well. So you basically, your folders, as you can see, the tabs I had was breaking every single thing down, so they knew that they can go to this group to find the resources, they can go to this tab to find the projects, this tab to find the lessons. It definitely helped out if the student was absent or they were sick for a while. They can go back to find what lessons they missed, and they were able to go back and make up those lessons. So it just really depends on how detailed you would like for the information to be in the Google Classroom, and then also how much information you want to provide. Good
okay,
question.
Great. I'll let you keep going then. Thanks.
And so here with the classroom, I'm going to go back. With the Google Classroom, it also has where you can also check the students' work. So I'm going to go into one of the classes, and you can check where the students, I'm going to go into, okay. And you can check to see how the students have turned in their work. And it brings you to this page here for your students. And so in doing that, my classes were really, really small. With my campus, we had a fine arts academy inside. So for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, they were able to choose what specials they would like to go to. And so my classes were really, really small. As you can see, for my 3rd graders, I only had 8 students. And with every project that we do or every lesson, I was able to provide them with the instructions. So you want to make sure that in any project or lesson you provide for them, that they have the full description of what it is that they're going to do, and also these steps, the same way as if you were teaching in front of them in the classroom. Also with that, you want to make sure that you provide those examples for them. I always made sure I provided a safe video, YouTube video for them, so it goes directly to that video of that project. And then I also provided different examples to kind of help them out, because a lot of times you'll have those students that think visually, or they have to draw things out first, or you have to show them exactly how to work on something. So by providing them those different types of examples will help them understand what their project is and their examples and what they need to do for their project. And I always provided the exit ticket. So a lot of the things that you provide for them, it creates individual folders for every student. So they see the same thing, but when they turn in their work, it provides a different folder for them. So all of my students here, as you can see, have turned in their exit ticket for that week. And then I was able to go and look at the exit ticket. I can click on it. I can also give them feedback. And then you can also give them a grade here. It also lets you know if they turned in the project late and if they turned it in on time. And definitely it helps out with those students that are missing an assignment. You can go back, you can have that conversation with them to let them know, hey, you're missing this assignment. This is what you need to go back and do. It keeps track of their assignments, and it also helps the students learn how to be responsible for their learning and also their assignments that they might be missing or they have not completed yet. By doing this, it also gives you the chance to also see how to group your students in terms of how they learn, how they perceive the information you're providing for them, and also how they complete their assignments. You're able to look to see, okay, well, these two, they thought the same with the projects that they turned in. They're in 2 different households, but they brought back 2 different things that were very similar in the end result. So it gives you a way to kind of identify how your kids learn, what processes you can use to help them move forward and thinking a little bit more outside the box. And then it also gives you that opportunity to think about the students that might be having a hard time and what ways that you can help push them to get them to think also a little more creatively as well. Also, with doing the videos in the Google Classroom, they have changed. I know it was a safe YouTube link, and then it was video link, and then it changed to another safe video, to where if you're placing videos inside of the Google Classroom that you would like for your students to watch, you have to make sure that it's a safe video. So that way it doesn't show any type of commercials or ads that are inappropriate. You want to make sure that when a child clicks on it, it goes straight to the video and that's it, because that's one thing that a lot of the parents have concern about if it's a video, will it just go straight to what you want your student to see and then leave that as, and then leave it that way. So that's one thing too, also with making those videos for them. Also with Google Classroom, you can also implement the Google Forms, and you can also implement Google Slides, and also with, I think it's Google Notepad. You can do that with different ways that you can have students complete their assignments as well. So with Exit Tickets, I also have examples where the students are able to do their exit ticket, but they complete it in the form of a Google form. So they were able to go in and create that Google form, and it gave them a chance to see how they were able to work on that project with the Google Forms. So with here, in doing that, this is the exit ticket that you can create, but then you can also go into the Google form. I'm trying to see how I have to do two different things here. One moment.
No problem. Just to let you know we have about 3 minutes left.
Okay, perfect. All right, there we go. Perfect. So with creating a Google form for your assignment, you can go here into where it says the RC Art projects, where you place your items for your lesson, and you will click on create. And the cool thing about this is you can copy and post any previous assignments you've used beforehand. If you want to, if you're still working on the same assignment, you can repeat the same assignment, just change the dates and change the project that's due for the next step. You can also add different materials for your resources, different types of questions, quiz assignment if you want to do it that way. And then you also have your assignment here. So with doing your assignment, this is what you're able to create: your title, the instructions for your assignment. Here you can choose all of the different classes that you would like for that assignment to go to. You can also come here and choose which students you would like for that assignment to go to as well. The cool thing, you can choose the due date. If it's every day or if it's by that Friday, you can choose your due date. And you can also choose the time frame you would like for them to have it turned in by. You can also add a Google file here. You can upload a file. You can link a video link. You can also add a YouTube video. And here you can also attach a new item. So if you do that, this gives you the opportunity, because it is one of the Google platforms, you can add a Google Doc, Google Slides, Google Sheets, Google Drawings, or Forms to your assignment for the students to complete. So that is one way that you're able to fill in and create your assignments for the Google Classroom. So that is one process that it takes in doing that, and how you can make it very fun and interesting for your students to continue learning using Google Classroom. All right, Mr.
Awesome. So did you want to put your contact information up in case folks had questions for you?
I can go back to the screen, sure.
Is there any questions from the room?
For you.
No, nothing from the room. We're fine.
Okay.
Awesome. And there is my contact information at the bottom, Kimberly Ballard at lancasterisd.org. And Kimberly Ballard is all one word. So if you have any questions or any concerns on how to create the Google Classroom, please email me. Any questions? More than welcome to help.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and if you're in the room or online and you wanted to see a recording of this, just go ahead and click the join session link later on, and the video recording will automatically start up. So pretty cool system they got here today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for helping me out.
Yeah, thanks, and have a good evening. Have fun there on vacation, and everyone in the room, have a good evening, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Good night. See you tomorrow.
Good night.
Thanks all. Bye-bye.